1988 Isuzu Trooper. It was our camping rig. Now it's just going to be kind of our day trip adventure, run around town extra rig, because we have the van, as people who follow know. And we'll probably still camp in it for places that we don't want to take the giant van through. So still set up for that. The thing needs a lot of attention because everything on it's pretty rough. It's even rougher than it is now by a long shot when we got it. We got it for a really good deal, but it was in pretty bad shape. We've kept it going along for a while. It has almost 293,000 miles on it, and as far as I know, those are original miles. This motor is the 2.6 liter 4-cylinder, and that's the MUA 5 manual 5-speed transmission, 4-wheel drive, all that stuff. And yeah, these are pretty cool rigs, and we didn't really know much about them when we got it. We lucked out that it was not the 2.8 V6, because apparently those are no good, or I've heard that they're not very good. I don't know for sure. And yeah, this thing's just a real survivor, really. You do have to keep oil in it and all that stuff because it's old and tired, and we're trying to make it to 300,000. So to kind of go over what we did to it, obviously there's a winch bumper. I have built this for the vehicle. There's plates that weld on and line up with the factory bumper mounts that add 2 extra mounting points, and then that's been gusseted in. Can't really see it with it all together. And I do want to give this some attention. It's all scratched up here from every year around Christmas. We put a wreath on there, and it scrapes it up pretty good. And yeah, I might want to mount some extra lighting on here just because. But yeah, it works pretty well. Winch is very, very overkill, 12,000 pounds.
So almost there. Woo!
But you know, it came with a synthetic line, and it would have cost more money at the time we bought this, because there was a coupon to get a lesser winch and then buy the cable, because I don't want, or the synthetic line, because I don't want an actual cable, because they're nasty and cut your hands up, and they're more likely to shear and hurt people. And when these break, I've seen these break in extreme situations, they just kind of fall. So lighter weight, I'm not going to cut my hands on it better. And then the winch is overkill. We're really happy with it. Radland fixed it. There was a B here, it said Badland. Definitely a typo, now it's Radland. So yeah, that's on here. The other thing we did is, out of necessity, I had to make engine mounts because I bought some new ones and then they were almost as bad as the old ones that were basically broken apart. And I still need to do something with the transmission mount. I've been meaning to do that for a few years now. I really should do that, but it's not as easy as the other. The motor mounts are a real pain. Did them in like 110-degree weather, and it was awful, but they're on there, and the thing rattles your brain when you're driving, but it sure works a lot better. And made those with Chevy leaf spring bushings through some 1 3/4, 1/8" wall tubing, and basically just notched out the factory engine mount bracket that goes onto the engine block, and then made some stuff that goes on the frame for now. The camping setup is just a platform made out of 2x4s and flooring board, because we didn't know how much we were going to like camping in it. I'm 6'1", and I can lay down in it, and the seat, which actually we swapped to some best stop seats because the other seats were clapped out. Had to do some custom bracketry on the driver's side. The passenger side is shifted a little bit over to the door, which made it almost a direct bolt-in, and it gives more room for the driver to shift gears. But I had to make the custom bracketry to center the other one with the steering wheel so it's comfortable to drive and all that stuff, and keep it nice and low. But anyways, I can lay in it and it's comfortable, and we would like to revise that and make it more user-friendly, all that stuff. But for now, I mean, we had it since late 2019. It's 2023 now, and it's been a great rig. So today I'm going to do ball joints in it again, because I put cheap ones in it, and now I'm going to put like slightly less cheap ones in it. And So one of them has a ripped boot. There is some mystery noise going on here. I think the front body mounts might actually be part of the noise, but I'm hoping it's just that, because those aren't very easy to get to, because, well, we'll go over that. Yeah, anyhow, let's do some trooper wrenching. So it's actually a good thing that I didn't get those two ball joints off right away, because I forgot that I have to undo the brake caliper. And I always like to use a small jack stand to hold this up, just so I don't stretch the line. Another thing I forgot about is the only thing to support this torsion bar sprung control arm once I loosen it is the shock. So to avoid putting a big shock on that, I think I'll just gently support it by the floor jack, which is what I normally do. Lost my stool. This is the part that sucks. I'll just gently weasel that off of there. So this right here is one of the reasons I'm doing this. This is actually, well, turns out it's pretty snug in there, but the boot is torn, and it's a little suspect that it's that stiff. This thing's been in here for like 4 years, so that's interesting. So this ball joint boot is torn all around, and it's suspiciously, oh, there we go. Wasn't moving because it's pretty dried up in there. So this thing's been making a hellacious noise the whole time we've owned it, and it's part of why I threw ball joints at it in the first place, which it did drive better, so it's not like it didn't need them, but yeah, this thing is like so stiff and locked up that I'm thinking and hoping this could have been my noise. So it was pennies on the dollar from Rock Auto to get the new one. So I've done this a few times, or I've had it apart a few times, so why not? So in comparison, this new one really feels kind of loose for a new ball joint, but the other one just was weird, and the boot was torn, obviously, and I'm not just going to replace the boot because it's not worth it. So I don't really know what brand this is. It says it's original grade, whatever that means. I really doubt it. And then it's made in Turkey, which is fitting because we just had Thanksgiving. So let's give it a whirl. Okay, so don't use your impact or anything on this, because this one has its own little channel. It's been so long I couldn't remember why I used 3 of the bolts that came with the ball joint, and I used one of the originals, and that's why. So it looks like crap, but it's not going to matter. So we're going to run it. And then this is the O'Reilly's part, and it never really fit, but I was going somewhere and I needed it to work. There was supposed to be a grease zerk on this, and the CV is too close to it, so you cannot run the zerk. So I pumped it full of grease and put that on there. So I've been a little suspect that this could have been causing my noise too, and I never really liked it. So the one going on there is a sealed unit, so when it dies, it dies. And I think it was cheaper than that one, and if I can find the paperwork, I can get refunded for this one, so it'll be like I only did it once. So the new one came with its own bolts. It's got those kind of nuts on there. Came with lock washers though. Another important thing is that the new ones are the correct 17mm head size, so they go into that factory pocket that is only on that one mount, so that's good. The thing that's confusing is it came with these lock washers, but that doesn't really jive with that. And I mean, I guess I could put them on the top on the ones that don't go in that channel, but I don't know. Doesn't really seem like it matters. Maybe I use them, maybe I won't. But I'm definitely not going to put them against the washer. Or I guess I could put these facing up, but I'm afraid that the excess thread could get too close to the CV, so I'm going to keep them all down because that's out of the way. There's a little dab of red Loctite on each of these, just for old man notions. I feel like it doesn't hurt, and it's just a little dab, because usually I used to always use the blue stuff, and I'm out, so that's what I'm trying. These are all grade 10.9 bolts supposedly, so that should work okay. Also going to turn my impact gun down so that I don't potentially strip out the threads, and then at the end of this I'm going to just hand snug them so I know where they're at. And if I was being really fancy, I would torque them, but an 88 Isuzu Trooper, that's a little overkill, so not going there. for this part. Jack this up a little bit. Now it didn't do much good, but that's what we did. I'm trying not to get too far off the jack stand because I'm actually only holding it up with the floor jack right now. So what's going on here is there is a bump stop on this control arm right there. So it doesn't want to go down any further. So it keeps the shock from getting mutilated when you're popping the front off the ground like we do sometimes on the rough roads and the dunes. Only been in the dunes with it like once or twice, but we get a little rowdy. So anyhow, was able to get that started, and just gotta thread it on the rest of the way. Hopefully it works. While I'm doing this, I'm watching the taper fitting to make sure it's not spinning. Luckily for me, it's not. So we're going with that. I'm going to use this on full blast for the sake of not overturning this, so it has enough oomph to go and overcome the nylocker that's still intact, kind of. And then I'm going to stop once it reaches, and then I'm just going to hand tighten it with a ratchet so I can feel it. Well, I think that about wraps that up. So I'm not going to film doing the other side. It's the same thing. The only thing I think I would do different is these little lock washers that I didn't understand. I think I am going to use those below the head of the bolt on the lower ball joint on the three that don't have the little pocket, because those did kind of dig into the metal a little bit, but they're already in there. I'm just going to keep an eye on them because I go through it so much. My critique to these ball joints is this probably should have just been a regular washer, but it's not. So or I could have reused the old bolts because they were fine. And yeah, job's done. Please comment if you like stuff about this. I'll do more videos about it because it does need some more love for sure. It's pretty neglected. You see it's held together with zip ties and hopes and dreams, and it's got all the character in the world. We just love this little thing. So thanks for watching. I think it's snow sticking the fan.
Gets a little hairy right about now.